In Colorado, on a misty winter morning, retired billionaire Thomas Wexler, 62, wealthy yet utterly alone, in his mountaintop log mansion, found a young woman asleep on the bench outside his front porch. Her hair was tangled, her hands clutched a tattered cloth bag, and her eyes held the weariness of someone far too used to being turned away. Her name was Josie Ray, 26. Once a promising medical student, she dropped out after her mother died, and her father fell into addiction. Since then, she drifted, taking odd jobs to survive, but always carrying a worn notebook filled with sketches and notes about her dream to one day open a mobile clinic for the poor. Thomas was about to send her away, as he had with so many others. But when Josie quietly said, "I'm not asking for anything, just one safe night. I'll leave in the morning," he paused, because 30 years ago, he had said those very same words to a woman who no longer walked this earth. Instead of sending her off, Thomas said, "1 week. You work the garden and clean the stables. I give you a bed." Josie agreed without hesitation. But the house had rules, strange, unspoken ones. She was never to enter the last room down the hallway, never to ask about the empty chair by the library window, and never, under any circumstances, to lie. Each evening, she dined with Thomas. He spoke little but watched carefully. One night, he saw her mend her torn shoe with a frayed shoelace, instead of asking for new ones. Another time, she helped an injured gardener quietly, without seeking credit. Thomas began to wonder about her past. He discovered that Josie had once been wrongfully arrested for stealing medicine from a hospital, when in truth, she had tried to save a homeless man's life. That mark on her record had slammed shut every door since. One night, Josie tiptoed into the library and discovered a painting. A woman seated by the very same empty window chair. Her name was Clara, Thomas' lost love, who died in a remote village without timely medical care. After retiring, Thomas poured his fortune into real estate investments, but never once used it to build anything for others. He believed, bitterly, that everyone must save themselves first. But then, Josie was seen helping an elderly woman with a broken leg at the market. Her story made the local paper. The media dredged up her past, twisted the narrative, and claimed she was taking advantage of a lonely old man's kindness. Thomas was furious, not at Josie, but at himself. He realized the world was far too quick to condemn those who had no voice. One evening, someone broke into the house, not to steal, but to vandalize. Spray painted on the library wall, "Don't let yourself be used again." Thomas was mildly injured. Josie faced a choice: leave to protect herself from the backlash or stay and face the storm. She stayed, and for the first time, Thomas opened the final door down the hallway. Inside, Cora's room remained untouched, her piano gathering dust, her final letter still sealed. In it, Clara had written, "If someone makes you believe that people are still worth trusting, don't miss your chance to love again." Thomas decided to rewrite his will, not to give Josie wealth, but to co-found the Clara Ray Foundation, a network of mobile clinics that Josie would run, quietly funded by him. But just before the foundation's launch, Josie vanished. She left behind only a note: "I don't want to be remembered as someone who was saved. I want to be remembered as someone who chose to stand, walk away, and return to herself." In a small forest town, a medical van pulled in. Thomas stepped out with a quiet team. The newest clinic stood bright and ready, and at its helm, Josie Ray, stronger, sharper, unshakable, a reflection of the woman Clara once was. Thomas said nothing, just gazed at the chair by the window inside the clinic. Josie placed her hand gently on his shoulder and whispered, "I saved it for the man who taught me that everyone deserves to be seen, not because they're perfect, but because they didn't give up." Two souls, one old, one young, adrift in a noisy, indifferent world, had found each other, not to rescue, not to fix, but to remind. True healing begins when we stay and take responsibility for for the unfinished lives we still hold. Final message: an empty chair is not the end of the story. It is an invitation for the brave to sit, to speak, and to begin again, in trust.